Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. Thanks for watching. So like the title says, we are having trouble with the OBS, and it's actually not engine related, at least not for now. I'm actually having problems with the hubs on this thing, and I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so my problems are actually with the hubs on this thing, the wheel bearings and all that stuff. So what actually happened is that about probably 2 years ago, yeah, that's how long I've had problems with the hubs on this thing. Don't do what I do. But yeah, about 2 years ago, I was in New Mexico, actually near Roswell, I think. You know, where the aliens crashed and landed and took over. Whatever. Anyways, this thing almost killed me back then. I was driving down the highway doing like 70, 75, and all of a sudden this thing just pulls like crazy to the side. And luckily I was on the right hand side, and when it pulled I was able to still control it and slow it down. But basically what happened is the hubs on this thing had been bad for a while, and it took out the wheel bearings and all kinds of other stuff in there. So I was able to limp it actually to a shop where they were able to fix it, or at least put it back on the road relatively quick, because back then I was in New Mexico on a job, so I needed the truck. They got everything fixed and put together, but the problem is that they couldn't find a new hub. So the guy did what he could. He threw new wheel bearings and everything on it, but it still had the same hub, which he said that was but when we take it off, I'll show you. He showed me what was wrong with it, but it was basically kind of deformed. And it did great. The only problem now is that every so often the wheel, you have to kind of like retorque the wheel bearings on it and everything, put the torque back on them, because the truck, you can tell that they start getting loose, and you can hear them and you can feel it, and it's not very safe. So that's what we're gonna fix today. We're gonna go ahead and take the wheel off, the bearings, everything, and I'll show you how to do that. By the way, full disclaimer, I'm not a professional, I'm not a mechanic or none of that. But I want to show you how to do this, but also do your own research, because this is a part that it's very important, right? You don't want your wheels flying off when you're going down the freeway, like the highway, like it happened to me. So watch the video as a guide, but do some research or consult a professional, not me. Anyways, let's jump right to it. Okay, I'm gonna show you one of the easiest ways you can tell if your wheel bearings are bad, and that's by shaking your tire kind of up and down. I'll show you. So what you do is you grab your tire on the top and the bottom, and kind of give it a little shake. And I don't know if you can hear or if you can see, but this thing has a little bit of play, and it shouldn't have any. It should be solid. So that's a pretty good indicator that this thing's bad. Another thing that it could be possibly is your ball joint. So make sure you look, back over here and you shake it, and make sure that nothing else is moving. So if nothing else is moving, that is a really good indicator that it's your wheel bearings. Okay, so the first couple things you gotta do is obviously jack up your wheel, which is what I did. Jacked it up. Also have a jack stand underneath it, and very important to have your wheel tires shocked, your transmission and gear. If you have a stick, or in park if you have an automatic, and your e-brake on. So now we're gonna go ahead and take off the tire. Also, another thing that I like doing is keeping a little bit of pressure on the jack stand, and not leaving on the jack, and not leaving all the pressure on the jack stand. It just makes me feel a little bit better about it. And when I take the tire off, I throw it under the truck, just in case. You want to be as safe as possible, you don't want this big old heavy thing crushing you. But anyways, if you've never seen what's behind your tire, you've got some massive brakes back there. Obviously your hub, which is also very big. And what we're gonna do now is go ahead and take off the actual brakes. So let's get to that. Okay, so as you saw, the calipers are only held in with 2 bolts from behind. Super easy, just really tight. What I do is I like taking out the bottom one completely out, and then the top one, after I take it off, I throw it back in just a little bit. That way, once you get the bottom one off, there's no chance of it just completely falling on you, and you'll be ready once you want to hold on to the caliper, take the bolt off, and then you're gonna move this whole thing over to your leaf spring. So let's do that. Calipers on your leaf springs resting nice and solid right there. Make sure you know they're not gonna fall or go anywhere, because you don't want these things, you don't want them hanging and you don't want them falling. If they hang, they're gonna mess up this brake line. If they fall, they are definitely gonna mess up this brake line, because these things are heavy. They're not your little Honda Civic calipers. These things are massive. Now, obviously, for obvious reasons, this would be a great time to also do your brakes if you need to, because you're already there. All you would have to do is do the other side. And talking about that, when you do stuff like this, you generally want to do it in pairs. You want to do the driver's and the passenger side. But I know for a fact that my driver's side is good. When they fixed the passenger side, they also fixed the driver's side. So the driver's side has new bearings and everything, and the hub itself was also in good shape. The only thing that was in bad shape was the passenger side, which is one thing that these stainless 60s, I guess, are known for, hubs. As far as I know, I'm not sure, but this is what I heard, that the hubs that they did, you know, kind of deform and go bad over time. So, and obviously that happened to mine. But anyways, like I said, if you need to do your brakes, this will be a great time. If not, at least inspect them. The discs on this thing feel really nice, no grooves or nothing, because they are brand new. The pads, as you can see, they're also brand new. Well, not brand new, but about 2 years old. But I haven't actually put that many miles on this truck since then. So now the next couple things we're gonna do is take off your lockout hub, and we're gonna take off a bunch of little nuts and stuff that are inside of this thing, so that we can actually pull everything off. This next step is a little bit tricky, especially if you don't know what you're doing, or if you've never done this before, which is why I'm trying to show you this. Anyways, between these kind of splines right here and your hub, there's a little locking ring, a little spring locking ring. It goes all the way around this, and if you don't take this off, this will not come out. So what you gotta do is you gotta find the edge and pry it out. I'll show you, but I just wanna kind of give you a little close up. So it's gonna be this little ring right there that we're gonna take off. And the best tools that I found so far to do the job are these little dealios right here. They sell these at AutoZone, I believe, a few bucks. So you're gonna find the edge where the ring starts at. It kind of overlaps. It's a little spring ring or whatever they're called. So you kind of pry up on the inside edge a little bit, just enough so it starts kind of clearing this part, and then you're just gonna grab it and gently pull it all the way out. And there you go. Little spring retainer clip deal. Next thing you can do is to go ahead and actually pull out all of these things here from inside. Maybe not. Yep, there we go. So now what I like doing is, as you saw, I left 2 of the bolts from the hub, from the lockout hub, inside of here, and that gives you some leverage to kind of grab onto this and pull it out. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take off the, I believe they're called the spindle nuts, with a spindle nut socket, I guess. And the size that I got is a 2.5 inch. Yep, Spindle Nut. And I believe I got this from O'Reilly's is where I found this. We are gonna grab our tool, stick it in there, make sure it's nice and on the nut, and loosen it. Should be a little tight. I forget how many foot-pounds it takes, but I believe it's over 100, so it will be a little bit tight. So now there's basically 3 parts to the spindle nut. There's the first nut, which holds everything actually tight. There is a retainer washer, which I'll take off right now if I can get to it pretty easily. I'll show you, which is this deal right here, and I'll explain what all these do here in a second. And then lastly, there's gonna be another nut in there that we gotta take out. This one was way too loose, which might have been part of the reason why this thing was a little bit wobbly. But it should definitely not be tight. And we'll go more into detail about that once we start out reassembling everything. There we go. So this is your nut, the first one. This is the one that holds basically like the preload. I'll show you everything over here. These are basically your spindle nuts. And you're gonna have, it's kind of important to kind of learn these things. It's pretty much dummy proof, but it's still very important to know about these. You have 3 parts to it. You have your first nut, this one, it's gonna be your first one. Then you're gonna have your little like retainer washer, and then you're gonna have your last nut. Now these two, at first they seem very, very similar, and they are. There's basically only one difference between these two. And this one difference, I think what might have been another one of the things that went wrong with my whole hub area. And let me show you why. I don't know if you can see, but this first nut is, like I said, it's the first one that goes in, and this is the one that pretty much preloads your bearings, and is the one that holds that preload on your bearings. Now the problem that I have with this one is, so this one goes like this towards the axle, and this side goes to the outside of the axle. And I know this because you see that right there? Hopefully you can focus. That little spot right there, it's supposed to be a little nipple, and it is completely missing on mine. It broke off. Now what that does is, again, you preload your bearings to whatever torque it is, and then you take your little retainer ring right here, washer ring, and you slip it on your spindle, and it has all these holes because one of those is supposed to align with that little nipple that nut has. And what that does is it'll hold this torque there, and it won't let it come loose or get any tighter. So it'll hold your preload, because like I said, this nut is not very tight at all. Then after you put these two, you sandwich this one, you put this one at the very top, and this is the one that gets torqued to like 100 and some foot-pounds. So that's the one that holds everything together in place. But anyways, what I just found out, like I said, is that this one broke off. So I'm gonna have to find a probably a new whole set of these little nuts, which kind of sucks, you know. But like I said, I am gonna be swapping the axles. In case you don't know, I have 08 axles for this thing that I'm gonna be swapping. And I've been asked a few times if I'm gonna sell these axles, and I'm not. I'm gonna keep these axles because I have a few projects in mind down the line, and I'm about 95% sure that I'm gonna have to need these axles for those projects. So I'm gonna hang on to them. I'm gonna fix them right now, and I'm basically gonna have to start using this truck again for work, for at least for a few months until I can figure out another truck for work. So I need this truck to be working pretty good here pretty soon so I can use it for work. And that's gonna be really exciting. I'm super excited about that, to tell you guys and show you what I'm gonna be doing here pretty soon. But yeah, that's basically it for these nuts. So basically know which nuts you have. Like I say, you can't lose them, because although these two look very similar, the one with the little nipple is the one that's gonna go first. It's gonna be the one for your preload. And if neither one of them have a nipple, then you're kind of screwed like me, and it broke off. And you're gonna have to buy a new set of these, which I don't think it's that expensive, but it still sucks that I have to buy it. Now, once you have all this taken off, the next step, I believe, yeah, should be just pulling off the hub. And we're gonna go ahead and pull this beast off. Oh, yeah. A little heavy. But anyways, there you go. That's how you take this off. And now that you have this off, the next thing you want to do is you want to inspect your spindle, which is this deal right here. So anyways, once you get it clean, I still got to do more cleaning on it. It's disgusting. Like I said, I know how you sound, but I really don't like getting my hands dirty. I don't know why. It's always been a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, once you get it all nice and clean, inspect it, make sure there's no any deep grooves or anything like that on it. If they are any significant ones, you might want to go ahead and get a new one of these as well. I think this one looks good, should be good, but I am going to clean it off a little bit more and see what condition it actually is in. But anyways, I think this video already kind of went on a little bit too long, and I don't want to lose your attention, because the next step, reassembling everything, is very, very important. And I want to make sure that you guys are paying attention for that. So I think I'm going to cut this video off right here. I'm going to break it up into two parts, the removal and the install video. Once I have it all put together, I'll leave a link to it right over here and down in the description. That way you'll have part 1 and part 2 of it. But as you see, it's a very simple job, very easy. There's not much to it. And if you have any tips, any comments, or anything that you think makes this job easier, let me know down in the description. And yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot. Leave a like, leave a comment. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one. Like I said, the next video should be out in a couple days, and we'll put everything back together and call it a day. Oh, see ya.